Ubisoft is getting everything they deserve right now. Rumours are swirling that they might be selling themselves to Tencent, and their share price has dropped 50% in 6 months. This has been a long time coming. The recent Star Wars Outlaws game has been a massive flop. It was given mid-tier scores by media outlets, but the user scores on Metacritic tell a different story, with the user score hovering around 50%. We also have to explore the recent controversy surrounding Assassin's Creed Shadows. The fanbase has been unhappy with the way that Ubisoft has introduced Western characters into a game about Japanese people, and the super duper Ultimate Collector's Edition is $130, which has been considered price gouging. There was even a flub where, during one Assassin's Creed Shadows marketing trailer, they added Chinese subtitles instead of Japanese ones. This forced the developers to apologise, but it really goes to show just what is wrong with modern Ubisoft. They're very disconnected from their fanbase and what their audience actually wants, and they seem to be driven by high-level ideas about monetization. For example, there's no news on the Splinter Cell remake, which is a game people actually enjoyed back in the day. There's also supposed to be a Beyond Good and Evil remake. Ubisoft seem to be remaking all of the classics to please fans, but it kind of goes to show that they haven't really done anything of note in the past 2 decades. We're supposed to have a Beyond Good and Evil 2 at some point, and that's nowhere to be seen either. It seems they have an aversion to taking any risks or producing anything that's original. All they want to do is continue to make open world games that they can monetize. It might be helpful at this point to talk about when Ubisoft actually stopped making good games. Assassin's Creed Valhalla was probably the last decent Assassin's Creed game that we played. Mirage and everything that's come afterwards has kind of been smaller and not as interesting. Then we can rewind back to Far Cry 3, which pushed the series forward, but after that it just becomes the same old drivel again. Most of their interesting games like Splinter Cell and Beyond Good and Evil were 2 decades ago. And Assassin's Creed really stopped being compelling around the time that we transitioned from Desmond Miles' storyline, and the series truly stopped being interesting with Valhalla. Of course, Assassin's Creed games have been enjoyable to a lesser or greater extent. Origins introduced a new open world, Odyssey was so huge that we spent hundreds of hours playing it, and Valhalla was interesting to follow Viking. But again, when was the time a Ubisoft game truly excited you? Then you have all of the actual studio problems. In 2020, allegations of harassment, abuse and misconduct in the workplace were rife. In 2023, 5 of Ubisoft's top executives were arrested by the French police. And just days ago, Ubisoft was hit with a class action lawsuit for selling users' data to Mark Zuckerberg's Meta. Now rumours are floating that the company's founder, Yves Guillemot, is in talks with Tencent to privatise and sell the company after Ubisoft's shares have dropped 50% in 6 months. In my opinion, Ubisoft is getting everything it deserves right now. It's reaping what it has sowed for the last decade, and that isn't good. Is the company better off with Tencent? We're all clearly bored with their shenanigans. Their open world games are cookie cutter, and the company seems very disconnected with the player base and what we actually want. Their only goal seems to be to keep making open world games at a time when we're all really tired of people forcing open worlds into every game. It just produces lifeless space. Of course, open world games like Zelda Tears of the Kingdom and Cyberpunk have shown how to do this properly. Their open worlds are filled with interesting lore to find, but Ubisoft's formula is stale, and it's just got me thinking, where do we go from here? Where does Ubisoft go to recover? How do they recover? How do they get players back on side? Maybe it is better if they sell to Tencent, who might take more risks and introduce new IPs, or at least utilise old franchises like Beyond Good and Evil that people actually want to play again. But if they don't sell to Tencent, the future looks very bleak for Ubisoft indeed. The games industry is in a period of limbo right now. Microsoft has fired a bunch of employees and they seem to be directionless and not really have a purpose. PlayStation announced the PS5 Pro, and that's all I need to say about that because it just shows their sheer arrogance, which is harkening back to the PS3 days. And now with Ubisoft in trouble as they have been for years and years, it just makes me wonder about the state of the industry and how many companies are left that just want to make interesting games and not harass their employees and make them all open world. How many studios are left that will give us games like Baldur's Gate, which goes to show that you don't need to spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on something just to have a return. You need to actually carefully craft your game and put lots of love and effort in for us to really feel the world. What do you think of Ubisoft and all of the recent controversy? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.